Welcome back to Tabletop Paper Company's Friday Finance. We are yet again counting down our top 5 cards that have risen in price this week. It's officially pre-release weekend for the new Edge of Eternities set, so go ahead and check out your local game store to see what events they have going on. And we have seen just 2 sliver cards in Edge of Eternities, but I want to give an honorable mention to a ton of sliver cards out there that are rising in price, so if you have a few in your collection, you may want to sell them now. And a special shout out to all of our new subscribers recently. I just want to thank you so much for liking and commenting on these videos. We're still a pretty new channel, so I really appreciate the post engagement. Without further ado, let's kick off our top 5 with number 5 and number 4 grouped together. Number 5 is Natural Affinity, and number 4 is Mossborn Hydra, which both care about lands. If you've watched any of our recent Friday Finance videos, you'll know that lands are a huge part of this new set. And there's the new World Shaper Precon deck, which cares 100% about lands. I think Natural Affinity is a bit of a sleeper card, because people worry that when they turn their lands into creatures, they'll get removed, which is totally valid, but this card can be an absolute win condition. When you have cards in your deck that let you play multiple lands a turn, you'll end up with maybe 15 lands near the end of the game. And turning them all into creatures and swinging one is worth it. And when Mossborn Hydra doubles its power and toughness every time you play a land, and you're playing multiple lands per turn, this thing is a threat that the board is going to have to deal with. Coming in at number 3, it's a familiar card, Magistrate's Scepter. This card was about $5 in our video last week and is all the way up to $15 because of the way that it interacts with In-Spirit Flagship Vessel. In-Spirit lets you put your choice of a +1/+1 counter or 2 charge counters on up to 1 other target artifact. If you pair this with just one other card that lets you put a charge counter on an artifact, you can take an extra turn as soon as this enters the battlefield and chain them together quite easily. Coming in at number 2 this week is the Gaffer. The Gaffer cares about life gain, and at the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. This is a great card to fit into any life gain commander deck, and I think it's raising in popularity because of Hope S-Time, a really good life gain commander that we saw in the Final Fantasy set, but also the Gaffer is good for any life gain commander deck. If you're playing life gain, 3 life is a really achievable target to hit on your own turn, but it's also a really achievable target to hit on your opponent's turns as well. The number 1 card this week has risen more than any card I've ever seen in 1 week. If you found this update helpful, you'll probably find future ones helpful as well, so please consider subscribing, and any engagement with the post like a like or a comment really helps us grow. People aren't playing the number 1 card this week because it's good in their decks, they're playing it because it's bad for other decks. That card is Spike Cannibal. When Spike Cannibal comes into play, you move all +1/+1 counters from all creatures onto Spike Cannibal. So you'll be making a ton of friends when you play this card, especially if you're playing against the new Edge of Eternities Counterintelligence Precon. As with almost all vintage cards that see a massive spike like this, no pun intended, this was only printed one time in the Exodus set, so it's an old card from the 90s, and there's a very limited supply, even as an uncommon, to keep up with the demand. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Check out our TCG Player Store and follow our Whatnot account for giveaways in the near future.